Okay, guys, so today I'm going to go over Russel Orhii's blood work, which he got done a few months ago. So I'm a little late making the video. He got it done about 4 months ago, I believe, and basically showing proof that he's natural. Or so he says. So we're going to get into this. I'm going to give my opinion on it, and I'll let you guys know what I think. Now, you can watch the video. I'll link it below. The first thing is it's not very extensive. So there's not a whole lot of testing done here. He got, let's take another look just to double check. He got cortisol checked, DHEA sulfate, estradiol, pregnenolone, testosterone, both total and free testosterone, and then SHBG. So I actually don't know. He probably got more checked than this. He probably got a CBC and a CMP, because I don't know why the heck you would check the other things without getting a CBC and CMP. And even if you're paying out of pocket, they're like $850 each. And then they're always what your doctor is going to check first and foremost. Your doctor's basically, if you guys ever go to get blood work done, your doctor's always going to check your complete blood count, which is like white blood cells, red blood cells, all that sort of stuff. And then they're going to check CMP, which is liver functions, kidney functions, and a few other different things along those lines. Those are the standard. They're also usually going to check lipids, which is your cholesterol as far as triglycerides, LDL, HDL, VLDL. Those are like the standard three different categories that are always going to be checked. So I'm assuming he got those done, but he's not showing those, which I don't necessarily, I'm not saying there's like he's trying to hide anything. I would be very curious to see what those look like. But out of the things that he got tested here, these have more to do with the sex hormones as far as testosterone production and things that would signify whether he was natural or not. So I think that was the main point of the video. I wish he would have shown the other health markers, because it would have been interesting to see. But let's kind of look at this. So the first thing, cortisol, not the most significant finding here. It's just he's kind of towards the bottom of the reference range, assuming this was done in the morning, which it looks like, let's see here, collected 10:30 a.m. So yeah, he's got low cortisol. Nothing abnormal about that, and there's nothing that's going to throw that off to a significant degree, assuming he's fasted and he's getting this done in the morning. And cortisol obviously spikes throughout the day. The closer you get to going to sleep, to bedtime, the higher it's going to be. So that one we can kind of throw out as far as the importance of it here. The real important stuff more so are the sex hormones, which we'll get into with testosterone, which was 634 nanograms per deciliter. And then his free testosterone, what is he at here? 156 picograms per milliliter, I believe it's measured in. So comparing this to my testosterone, the highest reading in the last year has been 500. I had one that was 487. And then I had one recently that was 317 nanograms per deciliter. So this one is actually double what mine is right now, but mine's pretty low. And 634 is definitely in the normal range. There's nothing abnormal about that at all. I mean, I've seen guys much higher than that. So nothing really suspicious as far as the total testosterone number. And just looking at that alone and the free testosterone number, the free testosterone number is right in the middle of the reference range, which you're going to see with a natural athlete. One thing that I've looked at tons of blood work over the years, probably about 100 different people's labs, including my own. I've gotten tons checked since I came off anabolic steroids and testosterone 3 years ago. And one of the common themes that stands out is the natural guys not on TRT or any synthetic testosterone have a lower to mid free testosterone number. So if you're on even TRT, that free testosterone number tends to be over the normal range or at the very top end. That's what I've typically seen. So you'll see free testosterone numbers, double that, much higher. My free testosterone on the last one was like 64, at the very bottom of the reference range. His is right in the middle. That's pretty typical for what you're going to see from a non-enhanced lifter, a drug-free lifter. So that, just those numbers alone, the testosterone, it's looking pretty good. Not bad numbers at all, not tremendous numbers. It's kind of right in the middle. And then you look at like estradiol. So let me look at that. I believe it was 34.8. So again, a very normal estradiol reading, which is the main estrogen in the body. And that's in line with what your testosterone, your total testosterone and free testosterone would be if you were not taking anything. So Again, good signs. The estradiol is nothing weird. It's not super low. That would be a red flag. It's not super high. Again, that would be a red flag. So right away, I got to give him the benefit of the doubt because I'm not red flagging the estradiol or the free testosterone. The free testosterone isn't super high. The estradiol is not super high or super low. And then SHBG, I believe it's 20. Let me look one more time. 26.6. Again, that's pretty typical. He doesn't have a tanked SHBG. Which you would tend to see the SHBG much lower if someone was on synthetic hormones. You would see sex hormone binding globulin is what that means. You would see that a lot lower. And the lower the SHBG is, a lot of times the higher for the free testosterone. So in someone on synthetic testosterone or anabolics, synthetic hormones, you're going to see a much higher free testosterone, a much lower SHBG. And really, that's about all he got checked, or that he's showing on this blood work. There is pregnenolone. Let's get into pregnenolone. Pregnenolone is just a precursor to the sex hormones, particularly DHEA. DHEA is converted into testosterone and other hormones in the body, progesterone, all those hormones. So estradiol, everything. So pregnenolone is almost a precursor to the testosterone production process. It converts into DHEA. So again, if pregnenolone is very hard to manipulate. If he was manipulating pregnenolone, we'd probably see DHEA be much higher. We'd see testosterone be much higher, and even possibly estradiol. So again, the pregnenolone being, I don't know what the range is exactly. Let's see here. Let's look at the 27 to 203. It's almost on the bottom end. So I don't think that's a major red flag at all. Like I said, it would be very hard to manipulate pregnenolone and then have all these other hormones be where they're at. So this is just tricky stuff. Like, you would have to really know what you're doing if you truly were on drugs and were trying to beat the system. And I don't think you'd get everything to kind of fall within this range. The same could be said for DHEA. I think it's like 274. So 274 is right in the middle, not crazy high. If he was supplementing with like a pregnenolone, the pregnenolone would not only be higher, but the DHEA would be in the testosterone. So I think overall this makes a lot of sense. My DHEA is like 150. It's at like the very bottom of the reference range, which could be why my testosterone is also lower, because DHEA is a banned substance in a lot of drug-tested organizations, and it converts into testosterone. So looking at the whole picture here, my opinion is that he is clean based off of this. I would like to see more extensive testing as far as, LH and FSH are the low-hanging fruit. Luteinizing hormone is a precursor to testosterone, and follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH, is a precursor to sperm production. Those would be things to look at as well. I'd like to see what his lipids are at, just from a health standpoint, because a lot of times when you're on anything, your lipids will be erect and all that. They'll be destroyed. You'll have super high LDL, super low HDL, triglycerides will be higher, all that kind of stuff. You'll see elevated liver enzymes, kidney functions. But I don't think there's any reason to believe, based off of this, that he's unclean. So I give him the benefit of the doubt based off of this. I would like to see more. I think everybody should get insulin checked from a health standpoint to see how insulin resistant and insulin sensitive you are. Apolipoprotein B is very important to check for the lipids. It's the main carrier of all the cholesterol hormones, specifically LDL, VLDL. And that would be something to check as well, because the lower you can keep the ApoB, and I should say that only carries the LDL and VLDL, the technically bad cholesterol hormones, but that would be something to check just from a health standpoint. You want to check your LP little a, lipoprotein little a, at least once. It's like a genetic predisposition to having a higher heart attack risk. So that's something you could check. I have really bad genetics as far as that goes. But these are things that would be interesting to check, and I think it'd be neat if he threw those in. And I'd like to see the CBC and CMP and all that. But based off of this, I have to give him the benefit of the doubt as being clean. I wish more guys, more of the top drug-free lifters would show this kind of stuff, because it's really interesting to look at. And I have more belief in people being clean, knowing what I'm doing with technically fairly low testosterone numbers, what I've done to my physique, just by focusing on more hypertrophy, bodybuilding, isolation work, and seeing the changes to my physique with like a 300-400, test level. I have more reason to believe that people are legitimate when they have a lower body weight and, you know, the things add up. When I see someone who's like a mass monster, 250, jacked out of their mind with veins and huge traps, you know, that gives me pause. But it is possible to achieve a really good physique and achieve some pretty incredible strength levels even without anabolic steroids and testosterone. If you guys like this video, got anything out of it, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. Check out my sponsor, Barbell Apparel. They got awesome clothes. They sponsor the channel, help me out. So look up their stuff. I have my own custom shirt with them, the Bighorn tee, for my race coming up in June, the Bighorn 100 mile race. Appreciate you guys just helping out and helping grow the channel, share it with friends, all that sort of stuff.